Hey, what's up, you guys? If you have subscribed, welcome back. Thank you so much for your love and support. If you haven't already, do me a huge favor and go ahead and hit that subscribe button and like. And give any comments down below if you have any questions that you'd like for me to answer after the video. But today, we're going to be talking about what it's been like my first 4 months in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and we'll get right into it. All right, I've been doing Jiu-Jitsu for about 4 months now. I signed up at a really good gym here in Copenhagen, Denmark, called Arte Suave. Shout out to my gym. I originally signed up for a 10-week kind of crash course, beginner course, and we just completed that about a week or two ago. We've completed the basics course, which kind of gives you your feet wet in what Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is. They go over certain techniques as far as setting up your fundamentals. So we just completed it. I'm super excited. I just actually went to my first fundamental class last weekend, and it was a much different pace. But again, I wanted to make this video so that anyone out there, if you're listening or watching right now, and you're either considering trying Jiu-Jitsu, you've thought about it for a while, but you just never really got into it, or you never actually end up going to a local gym to sign up. Or if you are on this journey already, just like myself, it is my hopes that we can help kind of share our experience and see what it's like. Because for one, I could only attest to my experience. I don't know, for the folks out there that are watching this and listening to this, I don't know what your experience is like. And so for me, it's kind of my goal to see if I can connect with you guys to see and kind of share this journey with you guys. And so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if some or a lot of what I say or share resonates with you and you're kind of going through the same experience, I would love to connect with you. So again, either send me a message or leave me a comment down below. I completed the 10-week kind of crash course. It was great because I had some really good classmates. A huge benefit of it was that we stayed with basically the same the folks in that class for the whole 10 weeks. And so it gave me a great opportunity to kind of really get to know the guys. I don't know about you guys, but for me, I'm kind of a gym rat. And so most of my friends or my inner circle that I consider friends now, I've met through the gym and through weight training and everything like that. And they've become my best friends. And so the Jiu-Jitsu gym, it has been a great kind of extension to that. And I've met some really amazing people there. The one good thing about meeting people in the gym or whatever you're ever into as far as hobbies is that at the very least, these people, you're not just randomly, meeting people at the bar, which again could be great, if you have things in common. But if you meet someone at the gym, you at least have this kind of core fundamental interest in common. And so I think it's a great way for like-minded people to get together and kind of know each other. I've had the guys over for barbecue and we've gotten to know each other, and it's really been a good experience. And so if you're looking for kind of more of a social aspect of it, of course, it's not it may not be a huge part of why you started jiu-jitsu, but there is a component of being social that has really been a great part of kind of my experience in starting jiu-jitsu. The other thing is the physicality. Of course, I've always been involved in athletics, playing American football, doing track and field, doing some wrestling and doing some taekwondo when I was younger. And I've just always competed. And so it's really good to get back in that kind of competitive spirit. As a matter of fact, I've got a competition coming up next weekend. And so I'm really excited for that. I haven't done any like real serious competition work, probably since college, when I competed snowboarding and when I competed in intramurals basketball. I am a little bit nervous, just kind of thinking about it kind of gets my heart rate going, which is a good feeling. But no, I'm really looking forward to it. We'll see how it goes. I've been practicing a lot. I've been training about 3 times a week for the last, I would say about 11, 12 weeks now. Yeah, I'm going to do the best I can. The thing about it is when you are joining a competition, especially when you're a white belt, I'm literally 12 weeks into starting this new sport of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Now, Jiu-Jitsu, if you know or may not know, it's not like squash. It's not like it's not something you can just go one time, get the fundamentals down, and then just like kind of do it on your own to get better. I'm sure there are those rare cases where, someone has done that, but jiu-jitsu it's a lifelong thing. You never stop learning jiu-jitsu, which is in large part kind of the beauty of it, right? Because if you can finish learning something, then what fun is that? I have a friend from Sweden that actually just came to visit about 2 weeks ago, and we actually ended up rolling. He's like a 3 or 4 or I don't know, like a 5-time Swedish national champ, black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's been doing jiu-jitsu for 20 years, so a majority of his life. And he told me that he's still learning things. Like he's still learning techniques and styles, and his styles change. So the fact that someone who has been doing jiu-jitsu for 20 years is still learning, lets me know that, wow, this is going to be a lifelong journey. Now, a lot of people may start jujitsu for various reasons. It may be for health, it may be for social reasons. It may be just something that, they want to learn to have confidence in defending themselves, So those reasons can vary. Again, what's your reason for starting jujitsu? I'm very curious about. So share with me some comments down below as far as why you started jujitsu. For me personally, again, I started jujitsu primarily to get back in that like competitive spirit. I've always been a competitor. I'm very competitive. I hate losing, but I love winning. And so that part of my life was missing, and it's really excited to get back. And especially that's why I signed up for the competition so early. Now, you might be out there saying, wow, you've only been doing jiu-jitsu for 11 weeks, 12 weeks. So why are you competing? Why not? Why not? What's the worst that can happen? If anything else, it's like I don't have a chip on my shoulder. I have nothing to lose. If I lose, I've been training for 12 weeks. If I win, great. So there's really nothing that can go. Of course, I don't want to get hurt, and injuries are, of course, always in the equation, but no, I'm really looking forward to it. If you haven't signed up for a competition and you're a white belt, I would, at this point, encourage you to try. Now, I will be doing another video, so again, please subscribe so that when I post that video, you get notifications for it. I'm going to be doing of course, a video of my competition. And then, of course, I'm going to be doing a video on after my competition to let you know what it was like at my first Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu competition. Now, you may be thinking about competing. You may have considered it, or it may not be on your radar at all. But I think listening to someone's account of how their experience was might be a good kind of push or, indicator of how it may be for you. So I'll go ahead and be sure to update you guys on that. So we're going on about month 3 and month 4 of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Of course, there's a lot of great benefits. As I mentioned, I met some really great people. Training has been really intense. I think the format for most Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gyms are pretty similar. You drill a new technique, maybe for a couple of sessions, and then towards the end of the workout, maybe an hour, toward the end of the hour training, you do some situational sparring, and then you may spar at the end. And so I think sparring or situational sparring is kind of safe for the last 20-25 minutes of the class, and then the first half is reserved for learning technique. And so it's been like this for the first 11 or 12 weeks that I've been learning jiu-jitsu, which is really great because you get to learn and then you get to practice. You get to learn and then you get to practice. What I've been doing that I feel like kind of has accelerated my learning curve is I go home and sometimes my wife and I, we Netflix some shenanigans and some documentaries and stuff like that. We really enjoy that. But other than that, if I'm on my phone or on the TV by myself, all I do is watch jiu-jitsu. And so I'm not saying that you could be a YouTube jiu-jitsu player, but it certainly has helped. And again, I'm just sharing with you what has worked for me, and it may or may not work for you, but I'm just sharing kind of what works for me. So what I do is I watch jiu-jitsu. And so I think to myself, like, okay, what positions am I comfortable and confident getting into? And so for me, again, I'm not perfect. I'm still learning, but I feel comfortable at this point kind of passing guard and getting into side control. And when I get into side control, what I've done is I've researched through online and through my coaches, a couple of different options. So this is basically a game plan, because once you get into a position like side control, top mount, or back control, and you don't know what to do next, like that instinctually doesn't come to your mind, you're wasting time. It could be an opportunity that you could be going for a submission or repositioning. And so what I did was for every position, again, for in guard, when I'm on my back, side control, north, south, for every one of these positions that I could potentially get in, I've kind of drawn out a quick and dirty game plan. So like as soon as I get into side mount, like what am I thinking? I'll give you a quick example. For side mount, as soon as I get in side mount, I'm thinking of isolating one of the arms, right? So the opposing arm, wherever my head's at, that arm, I'm trying to isolate either to set up a Kimura, an Americana, or an arm bar. Now, if that doesn't work, I've got kind of a step 2 as far as what I'm looking. I'm going to look to trap the other arm, maybe, try a submission or try a choke. If that all fails, then my fallback is to get on knee on belly. And so I think it helps to kind of have a general outline or general kind of playbook that you can refer to. And I think this really helps, especially especially if you're a beginner. Now, if you're advanced, if you're blue, purple, brown, or black belt, this stuff may just come instinctually because you've been doing it for so long and you've been drilling. But for me as a white belt learning, for me to actually think about like on the fly what I'm going to do in that position, millisecond, right, could make the difference between either getting a submission or not, or getting reversed or getting swept. And so I like to have this game plans really help my game. So again, if you haven't, or if you don't have a game plan, give it a try. Like YouTube some things or ask your coach and say, hey, I'm comfortable, getting myself in this position. What should I really be thinking about? What's my mindset? So the question that I love asking most to kind of upper belt is, when you're in this position, what is your thought process? What are you thinking first? And so they share. So I've been kind of like, mixing and matching and grabbing little pieces of information and tips and from the people that I've been training. Of course, if I get an opportunity to roll with like a purple belt or a brown belt or a black belt, I'm always asking like, hey, we got in this position, like, how did you? So I'm always asking questions because, again, these things will come up. You will be in that position again. You will be swept. You will be compromised. And so it's good to have a game plan as far as what you're going to do when that happens, as opposed to just trying to wing it. So I know that 4 months is really, really kind of beginner level, but now I'm starting to really feel like, I'm putting things together, and I'm trying really not to muscle things. Cause I know, especially as a white belt, we have this tendency to try to like muscle and go like 100% all the time. And I feel like that's a large reason why we get gassed so much. You may fall into this pool or not. I'm equally guilty of this. So I'm like starting like right in the beginning phases of trying to like maybe focus more on my technique. Of course, like, there may be some situations where, I'm super tired and I'm trying to muscle things. I mean, it does happen, it's kind of like instinctual. When you're in a compromising position, your natural instinct, your fight or flight instinct kicks in, and you may want to like muscle yourself out of the situation. But I'm starting at this point around month 4 to really try to be more conscientious of my maneuvers and technique so that I'm not muscling. And I think that that's going to save a lot of energy so that I could fight longer to really kind of hone in my skills. And I think that's kind of the difference between someone who has absolutely no skills and someone who has, a little bit of skills moving forward. And so again, I'm focusing a little bit more on thinking about what I'm going to do, kind of positioning myself, even setting up some traps. I'm starting, in the beginning phases, setting some traps in order to get to certain submissions. And so I think I'm starting to feel a little bit of that process starting to click a little bit, where as opposed to like 2 months ago, I had absolutely no idea. I was just trying to force, certain submissions that I knew. I was trying to force certain positions, even if it wasn't there. And so between month 1, 2, and now, I'm starting to feel a little bit more like my flow and my transition is coming together a little bit. Now, again, with that being said, it's not always like that. But again, I wanted to share because I'm starting to begin the beginning phases of putting things together. So, that really feels good. Now, I mentioned a lot of great benefits, and, I'm starting to really click. Now, a friend of mine who's a black belt said around month 6 to 8 is when you start really kind of going into the flow and starting putting things together. And so I'm really starting to feel that a little bit. And so I'm really looking forward to the next couple of months where, my skills and my training is really starting to come together a lot better. But with that, I don't know where you guys are in your jiu-jitsu journey. You may be just starting off. If you're watching this video, you're probably somewhere around, 2 to 6 months in your Brazilian jiu-jitsu journey, which I congratulate you to. If you've made it this far, you're one of the few people that do. So I congratulate you. I know a lot of people who start, end up quitting because this isn't for everyone. I mean, it's really taxing on your body, and the learning curve is really bad. Again, this is more of a lifestyle, in my opinion, than anything else, than a sport. And so if you've stuck along, then congratulations. I commend you for your efforts. We're in this journey together. Now, let me talk to you about some of the maybe cons, or I just want to be fully transparent with you, because again, if you are on the fence of joining or not, this may be something of concern that may help you in your decision-making process. Again, not to help deter you. I don't want to scare you away, but again, I'm just being fully transparent as far as what my experience has been like from beginning to end without sugarcoating things. So I am 38 years old, going on 39. I am no longer in my 20s. And when I was in my 20s, I thought, man, like nothing could hurt me. My recovery was super fast. I'd get sore for like a couple hours, it felt like. And then I was back at the gym, just acting all crazy. But again, I'm in my 30s, my late 30s, going close to 40s now. I'm not sure if, I'm pretty sure it has something to do with my age, dealing with some minor injuries. Now, these all came about, of course, as I started jiu-jitsu. I've been weightlifting and weight training for over 20 years, and I've had little injuries here and there, just kind of like, maybe some tennis elbow or something like that, but nothing major. But as soon as I started jiu-jitsu, between when I started and now, I have had some pretty nagging injuries. Now, I do want to be careful because I would not really classify these as injuries, because anything that I consider an injury would need, some sort of surgery or physiotherapy. In my opinion, I think these are just kind of the nuances of starting such a physically intensive sport. And so I kind of say, it's a part of the sport, but it is very annoying. It's not debilitating. I can do things in life, but it is very, very annoying. And to be more specific, I know this was just a fluke accident, but when I was sparring one weekend, I ended up getting knee to my thumb, and this kind of jammed back. And man, I forgot how long it takes for a jammed finger to heal. It's been over 10 weeks now, and it's still very sensitive. Now I can grip, but there are certain movements like opening jars and stuff. Something weird. It doesn't even have to be like a forceful movement, but it really does hurt. And if someone ever were to tap on it really hard or to grab it and pull it on a certain angle, it really, really hurts. And so obviously that affects my jiu-jitsu game. I'm a little bit more weary as to where I'm gripping. And if I'm hand fighting and they grab my thumb, I'm pulling out. It's really painful. And so again, a fluke accident, that happens. That could have happened, at home. So, again, but I just wanted to mention it because I did suffer that, while I was sparring. The other big thing, it has been my shoulders. And so again, I've been weight training for over 20 years. I have pretty strong shoulders, I feel like, and I've been training them. But when you do jiu-jitsu, you're doing things and you're throwing grown men around. These guys could be upwards of 100 kilos or more. And you're trying to judo throw them when you're standing off. You're trying to triangle lock them. You're trying to pull them in. It's a fight. It's a controlled fight. You're using muscles that you wouldn't ordinarily use. With that, I feel like, a lot of my joints and some of my muscles and tendons are really sore. Again, it's not debilitating. I can still live my life to lift my arm to grab something or to lift my kid up, and it really, really bothers me. Now, up to this point, my left shoulder has been kind of the predominant injury. It's been, my left shoulder has been basically hurting me since the beginning. So it's been really kind of crazy because my left shoulder hurts and then my right thumb hurts. So it's kind of something from both sides is irritating. I've been managing kind of the training, I've been telling my training partners that I do have a couple injuries and they've been really careful. I've been working around it. But then last week, when I started the fundamentals class, I went a little bit hard. It was a different class altogether because I had finished the intro class. And now these were experienced white belts. These white belts, some of them had, upwards of 2.5 years experience. I try to level up my game. During training, I felt fine. Honestly, I felt great. I was exhausted, which was great because it helps my cardio. But the morning after, I tell you what, my right shoulder, even now, is really bothering me. It's the feeling isn't it definitely doesn't feel broken, but it feels like, have you ever been punched in the leg or kicked or anything like that? That soreness, that acute soreness that you have when you get punched. It's like that in my shoulder. It's like that in both shoulders. So again, I can lift it okay, but it's pretty painful. And obviously in the morning, it's a lot worse. During the day, when you get a little bit of movement, it's fine. So yeah, so those have been, my shoulders have been the primary kind of irritant. Of course, my thumb, a fluke accident. But leave me a comment down below. If you've been doing jiu-jitsu for a long time and you remember starting off, shoulder a common injury, is that something that I have to just accept moving forward in jiu-jitsu? I don't know. So again, if you're more experienced, then let me know if that's a common injury. If you're just starting off and you also have shoulder problems, let me know, because then it would make me feel better knowing that this is a common thing. Yeah, and then as far as any other injuries, I really haven't had any, knock on wood. It's just really been my shoulders and then again my thumb. So if my shoulders were healthy, I would be feeling fantastic right now. It's a little bit tricky right now because again, next week, about 9 days from now, I have my first jiu-jitsu competition, which I'm really excited about, a little bit nervous, but very excited about it. But it's been tricky because I want to be in the gym right now to train really hard in preparation for my competition, but I also don't want to further injure my shoulder. So it's been really challenging for me to try to figure out, okay, am I going to go to the gym? Am I not? So at this point, I've kind of determined that it's more important for me to be healthy than to go in the gym, because at this point in the next 9 days, I'm not going to learn a new submission that I'm going to use, during the competition, most likely. So it'll really be just for kind of rolling and cardio benefits. So I'm doing cardio to maintain my cardiovascular health, but I'm not going to be training for the next 8 days or so in leading up to my competition, because the last thing I want to do is injure my shoulder even more and have to withdraw or have to suffer more permanent damage to it. And so is it the right decision or not? I don't know. Should I be in there training a couple of days, the week leading up to the competition? Probably. But again, it's been really challenging. It's been a decision that I had to come to grips, terms with, really say, okay, I'm going to put the training on hold so that I don't further injure myself leading up to the competition. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Is that a good decision or not? what would you do? Okay, so all in all, man, my first 4 months in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has been a wonderful, wonderful experience. If you are on the fence about starting Jiu-Jitsu, I would highly encourage you just to get a couple classes in and see what it's like. Talk to the people at the gym and say, hey, I'm thinking about doing Jiu-Jitsu. You know, what has been your experience? And get to know and aggregate as much information as possible from other people. YouTube, of course, is a great resource like videos like this, where people are sharing their accounts of their personal experiences. But I really encourage you to give it a try. It's life-changing, and there's a reason why it's become so popular around the world. It's really more than just a martial art. It has become a part of my life and a lifestyle change. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't. If you have subscribed, thank you so much for your support. And until next time, guys,